Hey guys, how's it going? So it turns out there was a round one that was streamed for Dallas Regionals. For some reason I thought it wasn't in like the big first video from day one, so I thought it just didn't exist, but it does exist. I found it. So this is me coming at you guys with round one from Dallas Regionals. We got Jimmy playing ZoroToad versus Chance playing ZoroGarb. Chance is going first. Ultra Ball for Lele for Bridget, and he's gonna get Zorua, Trubbish Zorua. Now he might not know what Jimmy's playing, but Jimmy did open a Giraffe, which kind of tells that it's ZoroToad. It's really the only deck that will consistently play a Giraffe in it. The big thing here is that he should know what Giraffe does, hopefully, and he just put his only Guzma into his discard pile here. So I definitely want to see him via Seeker for that, or he probably should have Ultra Balled away something else. So he does have a via Seeker in hand, and he also has Shaman, but he chooses to pass to Jimmy. So this is wrong for a couple reasons. One, a lot of decks just play Seismitoad and your hand doesn't have any other draw support. So you probably just want to go ahead and throw down the Shaman right now to make sure you can draw some more cards. Sure, you still might not draw it out for your next turn to like play like a Colress or something. But it's better than Jimmy just going Bridget for Zorua, Sudowoodo, and then you're just not able to play down the Shaman on your next turn, and then you're just kind of locked out of the game through that. So Chance definitely should have via Secret for Guzma. Even if you didn't know that Jimmy was playing ZoroToad, the Giraffe is right in the active, being like, I'm going to get lost your Guzma next turn. You definitely need to deal with that as Chance, and you definitely should have set up this turn, Shaman set up this turn, because if Jimmy does just play down a Sudowoodo next turn, you're just kind of stuck unless your top deck is really good. So already a couple missteps there from Chance. Going over to Jimmy's side, I definitely want to see him get lost and get rid of that Guzma on this first turn. We do see the Lele with the Wonder Tag here. We'll see what he grabs. Ideally, I think you'd want to see... ideally, I think Jimmy would like to go Bridget for Sudowoodo, Zorua. But we are seeing a fan club for Toad Lele, so his hand is not great. His hand's not dead, though. He has something to play off of here. He's going to use the Lele immediately to get Colress, because there is a chance that Chance sets up Ability Lock Garb next turn and makes it so he couldn't use Wonder Tag next turn, so you want to use it this turn. Just get the draw supporter in your hand. Even if Chance was to end you or something, you'd still rather make sure you have a draw supporter than not. Yeah, as opposed to just being Ability Lock Garb and then having to draw and pass, potentially. So we see Jimmy setting up. He's got a plan for next turn. He does have a DC in hand, so I definitely want to see him get lost away that Guzma, take away that Guzma option from Chance for the rest of the game. He almost attaches to Toad, but then he checks his opponent's discard pile and is like, well, yeah, getting rid of Guzma is pretty good. It's actually my favorite play to do in Expanded right now, is to literally just get lost your opponent's Guzma. Guzma something up. In this case, there's already a Lele trapped in the active, so he doesn't even have to Guzma anything up. He just gets to do it. And Chance did have a Via Seeker in his hand, so he wasn't punished for that. Or he was punished for that, but he wasn't punished by Jimmy getting a Sudowoodo, so he is going to be able to Shaman setup. I do like the DC attached to Zorua. Just dig hard for the float zone here. Here's the setup for 4 from Chance. See another Shaman and Ultra Ball. And Pokemon Communication. So he doesn't have access to Guzma anymore, so he's just going to play a little bit slower here. Just look for the knockout on the draft. Don't need a whole ton of Pokemon in play to do that. So probably just going to grab Zork, unless he plays 2 Guzma, but I don't think he does. I think he only plays the 1 Guzma. So it's going to be Communication for Zork, and then probably play Colress. There it is. Looking for a Float Stone. I'm fine with this play. Don't really want to overextend your resources too much. Potentially could have Ultra Balled away a Colress and a Communication and gotten another Zorua in play. That would have been fine as well. But I think this is the way to go for sure. Just hope to get a Float Stone and knock out this Giraffe and start drawing prizes. That's what you really want to do. The way this matchup kind of breaks down is you got to be really aggressive on the ZoroGarb side. He does play the Trashalanche Garbodor, so that helps a lot in this matchup, potentially. And he plays a Rangaroo as well, which will also help a ton if you can get a basic Psychic Energy on the Rangaroo. But you have to get there, which can be tough. You have to be fast and aggressive as Chance on the ZoroGarb side and hope that's enough to kind of overwhelm the ZoroToad player. The longer the game goes, the more favored it becomes for ZoroToad. ZoroToad has a bunch of ways it can win the game. It can lock something active and start Quaking Punching it while using Handiwork. You can run them out of DC with Faba. Yeah, there's a whole ton of ways. You can get lost enough important cards to the point where they can't actually win the game anymore. There's a whole ton of ways. One of the most important cards to get lost is the Guzma, which we already saw get taken out. So there is a ton of ways for the ZoroToad player to win. It kind of just depends on how the game plays out. We do see the float zone to the Lele and the Zorua here. He's going to go ahead and set up for 2. He's looking for a target for this Ultra Ball, but he hasn't traded yet. I think it was kind of unnecessary to play down this setup for 2 here. I would have rather just seen him trade away the Ultra Ball to start off his turn and then go from there. But he might want to dig pretty deep here and look for the setting up ability lock Garb, which I don't think is even worth it here because he has trades and Jimmy can't possibly have trades on his next turn. So why would you want to just take away your own trades potentially, knowing it's impossible for Jimmy to trade on his turn? So I actually don't like the idea of setting up ability lock Garb this turn because you're not really limiting Jimmy from anything here. Here's the Ultra Ball, and I assume he is going to grab the ability lock Garb here, and he does have a float stone, so he will be able to set it up and ability lock Jimmy, but it doesn't really shut off anything for Jimmy on his next turn. Sure, Jimmy could go into Quaking Punch next turn, and then you want to be able to get the float stone on the Garb, but I don't think it's worth it when you are you're ahead. I would rather just still have access to trades here if I was Chance. Just hit hard, fast, and make sure you can continuously do that through trades. So not a huge fan of the float stone onto the Garb. I don't mind him ultra balling for it. I'm sure he plays a Clef Key or two, so he could still get the ability lock off later in the game. But putting the float stone on it feels like it really is limiting his own hand way more so than it is limiting Jimmy's. So there we do see the Colors come down here from Jimmy, and he will be able to Quaking Punch this turn. Definitely wants to try and find a counter stadium here, bump that Skyfield, reduce it, or a Fighting Fury Belt, reduce the chance of his Toad being knocked out. I don't think Chance plays the Pokemon Ranger, which is the big card in this matchup for the ZoroGarb player to play. I don't think he plays it. There we do see the Silent Lab from Jimmy, which is the big deal here. Gets rid of 2 Pokemon on Chance's side, as well as gets rid of the Skyfield, drastically reducing the chances of Jimmy's Toad being knocked out. Fighting Fury Belt would be ideal here for Jimmy, but looks like not this time. We do see an Ultra Ball grabbing Zorua. He does want to set up Zoroark himself eventually, although it will be a little bit slow to those coming out for Jimmy. There is a Zorua. Does have a Zoroark in hand, does have a Water in hand, but he's already attached Return, and then here's the Quaking Punch for 30, I think, about to come down. Yep, Quaking Punch to Zoroark for 30. Over to Chance, he has Pokemon. He can't trade, though, because of Garb. I think they're going to catch this. Yeah, can't trade. I would definitely like to see him attach the DC to the active. You just want to stay aggressive in this matchup. And then it looks like he's going to play the Colors, especially once you have the ability lock Garb set up. Sometimes it's best to set it up, sometimes it's not. I feel like in this situation, as Chance, he probably shouldn't have set up the ability lock Garb. Left it open for him to use his abilities still. I think that's what I would have liked to have seen. Because now you can just eventually get into a spot where Jimmy will just like end him to like three or less, and then you just stop finding cards as Chance. Like right here, his hand is not good. He does at least have the DCE to punch this Toad, but besides that, he has what, a Faba and a Delinquent in hand. Potentially good cards depending on how Jimmy plays out his next few turns or his next turn. We'll have to see. Looks like, yeah, we got Zoroark. Probably see that evolve on the Zorua, and then he has a Water Energy, which I would like to see come down on the Lele, so you can use that later as a pivot to kind of retreat into whatever you want. And I see a Sycamore. He has a Faba as well, so I think the Faba coming down here on this DCE is about as good as anything here for Jimmy. Yeah, Faba away the DCE, and then go into Quaking Punch. Water to the Lele as well. I like that. And he's got about a 4 or 5 card hand left. I see Sycamore. I think I saw Hugh as well. Over to Chance. Chance actually has some options on this turn because he does have Faba and Delinquent in hand. I would like to see him go ahead and go with the Faba. This would be Jimmy's second DCE, meaning it's very possible that Jimmy just can't Quaking Punch on his next turn, meaning you'll get access to items again. So I definitely want to see the Faba. So he's going with the Delinquent here. Not a huge fan of that. I definitely would have liked to have seen the Faba come out here from Chance, not the Delinquent. Not a fan of the Delinquent play at all. I think the Faba, a little bit more aggressive, give Jimmy less time to try and find another DCE. Now you've given him a whole extra turn to try and find DCE, as opposed to not. So now Jimmy draws. And I think he does have a Hue. Yeah, he has the Hue in hand. The Hue's going to come down. Chance has a pretty decent sized hand. We'll see what he gets rid of here. Looking like he's starting with the Egg. Or he's going to decide what to keep. You definitely keep the Faba and the Skyfield. And he actually goes with discard Via Seeker. I actually think discard Via Seeker and Stretcher. I think he should have kept the Via Seeker and Stretcher and got rid of Oricorio and Egg here. Just because you know your next turn, your plan next turn, most likely, unless you top deck really well, is going to be Faba DCE, which means there's a potential you get access to items on the following turn. So you may as well play off of that and be like, okay, I might get items next turn. Let's play as if I am going to get items next turn and keep the items in hand that I potentially get a lot of value out of, which is the Stretcher and the DC. Put some Pokemon back in, probably some of the ones you just discarded off the Hue, and then use the VS Seeker to probably grab a Chorus. So I don't like those discards there from Chance. I definitely would have liked to have seen him keep this Stretcher and the VS Seeker, knowing most likely your next play next turn is going to be Faba. Once again, I think he should have played the Faba the turn before, but here we are. So we see Jimmy. It's off the cards off the queue. He found Sudowoodo. That's fine. Sudowoodo's not really that big of a deal. See a Psychic Energy top deck here from Chance. Yep, there is the Faba play, and now, like I said, knowing you're going to be playing Faba next turn, would have been best to just hold on to the items, because there is the potential that Jimmy whiffs the Quaking Punch. Jimmy draws for turn. His hand doesn't look great. I see an Ultra Ball, but that's about it in his hand. Okay, he's got VS Seeker for Chorus. Definitely going to be looking for a... excuse me. Definitely going to be looking for the Dowsing Machine for the Enhanced Hammer off the... oh no, he doesn't have a DCE. Not Dowsing Machine for Enhanced Hammer. A DCE. Definitely going to be looking for DCE off of this Chorus here. There's the Chorus from Jimmy. Looking for DCE. Wants to keep Chance Quaking Punch locked. Ideally DCE plus Counter Catcher. We can't get it all sometimes. We'll see what he ends up with here. Definitely, excuse me. Ideally wants DCE plus Counter Catcher. Bring up probably the Lele. I guess Field Blower, Counter Catcher DC would be most ideal. You can bring up the Garb off that. There's the draw. I don't see DCE, so I think it's going to probably be a pass here. He does have a Counter Catcher, so he could at least make it harder, or yeah, at least make it harder to knock out the Toad. He's going to bring up the Lele here. Lele we need like Choice Band DC. He has a Fighting Fury Bell in hand. It looks like he's going to hold on to that though, which is fine. And pass back over to Chance. Chance now just get access to items, like I said, was definitely a possibility, and I think he should have played around that being a possibility. Now he doesn't have the VS Seeker or the Stretcher to play with. He does have a Dowsing Machine, so he's not dead in the water. We'll probably see Dowsing Machine get rid of Egg and Oricorio. I definitely want to see him keep the Trash Avalanche and the Psychic Energy. Psychic Energy is super good for the if he can get it on the Orangaroo, and then the Trash Avalanche is super good if you can set up the Trubbish, get Psychic Energy on that and start Trash Avalanching. Because the item count will just keep getting higher for Jimmy, most likely. You can try and abuse that. We see the Dowsing Machine here. There's the Chorus, got rid of the Egg and Oricorio. Gonna go with the Skyfield in play. I don't like him putting Skyfield in play. This just means there's just like one less Skyfield he has access to for the rest of the game. He's already down both Floatstone, so his way to get a knockout here is Choice Band plus DC, which you don't need Skyfield for. So I definitely would have liked to have seen him hold the Skyfield. The sooner you run out of Skyfields, the easier it is for Jimmy to just keep putting Parallel or Silent Lab in play, and then it eventually sticking, and then you just running out of stadiums, and then not being able to fill your bench and take big knockouts anymore. So definitely not a big fan of putting that Skyfield in play. Looking at Chance's hand again, he does have the DCE. I don't know if I saw the Choice Band. There's a red card as well. There is the Choice Band as well. So he will be able to knock out this Toad. Once again, don't need the Skyfield for that. He does have 2 Pokemon he can bench, but or just one. It looks like he has just a Ditto and then the stand-in Zoroark. Oh, he does have a Zorua as well. Okay, so but you're not even going to probably put those in play anyways as Chance. I don't see a reason to. If your stadium gets bumped, you don't want to start running out of Pokemon, and then once again, not being able to take big knockouts with Zoroark. There is the Energy Drive knocking out the Toad. We do have the Water Energy here in play for Jimmy though, which was super important, is going to be super important this turn, as it does give him the pivot like I had mentioned earlier. I see DC in his hand, I see Stretcher, I see VS Seeker, so he should be pretty set up to go. He can go for either the Faba play, and then Chance will be down to just 1 DCE, but I think his hand is probably dead besides that, so you probably want to go with the Chorus here from Jimmy with that VS Seeker. He can Stretcher for the Toad, bench it, attach DCE, Stretcher, VS Seeker for Chorus. So we'll see what he goes with here. He's eyeing the Stretcher, so I think it's going to happen for the Toad. That's almost for sure going to happen. I don't see a Toad in his hand, so yeah, Toad comes out. I think we will see the DCE to the Toad, and then the VS Seeker for the Chorus. And then the last card in his hand, I believe, is a Zoroark. And then there's something else. I don't know what the other card is, but none of those are very useful. Yeah, and then Chorus gets played. He's going to draw 10 cards. Be able to start Quicking Punching again. Once again, he's looking for that Dowsing Machine to be able to use Enhanced Hammer. That is the ideal draw here, is the Dowsing Machine. If it's not Prize, that is. I haven't seen it in the deck yet, or in his hand. So it's very possible it is just Prize, and he's just actually not going to see it this game. Okay, there we go. 10 cards. We'll see what he can do with them. Like I said, the card he really wants to see here is Dowsing Machine. He's got the Field Blower, which is also another good card to see. I don't know if he's going to Field Blower this turn, though. He might just go with a Quicking Punch. He has another Zorua in hand, so he can definitely bench that. Oh, he's got Toad and Zorua. Yeah, those should definitely come down. And then he might go for the Field Blower here. We'll be able to put this egg in the discard pile, which is a big deal, and get rid of that bench Lele. There's a Field Blower, Skyfield, and Floatstone off the Garb. There it is. He's going to get access to abilities. His opponent also has to discard a Pokemon because he does have the Sudowoodo. The Zorua hits the discard pile there from chance. Propagation, I assume we'll see it trade, or he might be wanting to try to get something with the Ultra Ball, but I can't imagine what he would want to get with the Ultra Ball. So yeah, there's the trade. Once again, probably wanted to see the Dowsing Machine there. Doesn't find it. That's fine. Debating not retreating the Lele because he does have the Floatstone, but yeah, I think retreating it, saving the Floatstone is probably best. And then he'll get his opponent back under Quaking Punch Lock here, hitting this Lele for 30. So here's a Chance's chance to actually like kind of come back into this game. He needs to find his 4th DCE here and then try and go for a knockout on this Toad, putting himself down to 1 prize, getting himself super close to just being able to win the game. And ideally, I mean, without the Guzma though, I feel like it's going to be tough for Chance to actually close out the game. He's just going to go with Energy Drive for 110, not trading to play around the Hue potential from Jimmy, which I can respect that, I guess, but I think he maybe should have tried to find a bigger play than this. This is okay, but far from great. This is far from a great play here. Great turn here from Chance. See trade number 1 here from Jimmy. There's another counter catcher. I expect that Garbodor to be counter catchered up. There's the prop trade with the second Zoroark there from Jimmy. He's got an Ultra Ball in his hand as well, so we could see the... looks like he's going to go with the Acerola. Oh, he does have the counter catcher though, so he is just going to be able to bring up the Garbodor, which I expect to see here. Yep, Garbodor making its way active. I'm going to lock that up for a couple turns while he sets up for some kind of loop. And this is the play you want to get to. This is the point you want to get to as ZoroToad. Counter catcher up something. Let it sit active while you trade through your deck, draw your cards, set up your Lusamine loop, or set up enough of something to just kind of win the game, irrelevant of what your opponent can do. We do know Chance plays... Oh, yeah, there's the scoop from Chance. I don't think he had the scoop quite yet. He does have... Like, he has the Oranguru and he has the basic Psychic in deck. So I think it's definitely still possible Chance could have won the game. I actually think that was a little bit of a premature scoop there from Chance. I think he could have actually sat in that one for a little bit longer. Yeah, I don't see a reason for him to have really needed to scoop there. I think he could have sat in that one, yeah, for quite a bit longer, actually. Still had basic Psychic, still had a Oranguru. The Garb isn't trapped active forever. It will get knocked out eventually by Jimmy's Toad. Yeah. So game 1, I think, yeah, definitely some mistakes there by Chance. His Guzma getting lost. Sloppy on the first turn by not using the Shaman for the potential of him just being locked out of the game by... potential of being locked out of the game by... Jimmy just putting down Sudowoodo. We'll see if he doesn't play it a little bit. Hopefully play it a little bit cleaner here in game 2. He's using Battle Compressor. Only gets rid of 2 eggs. That's almost never correct. There's always something else you should get rid of with your Battle Compressor. So I don't know what he should get rid of. I didn't quite see his full hand, or I don't know what's in his deck and what's prized. But it's almost never right to only Battle Compressor away 2 things, especially on your first turn of game. There's always something else that probably should be Battle Compressored away. So we see the Bridget come out here. It's going to be for Zorua, and I assume Ditto. I don't think the Oranguru, I haven't seen, okay, the Oranguru is in there. I wonder if he should just go ahead and grab Oranguru. Probably Zorua, Ditto, or Zorua. I guess he does have the Zorua in the active. Alright, Zorua, Trubbish is fine. No, I would just get Oranguru here if I was Chance. I would go Zorua, Oranguru. Oh no, he has to leave a bench space open. He has a dead hand and an Ultra Ball. So it has to be Zorua, and then Ultra Ball for something. No, that's fine. Prop twice, Ultra Ball. I would go ahead and grab a Lele for a Colress. He's thinking about it. Yep. Ultra Ball. I would go ahead and grab Lele for Colress here if I was Chance. Shaman is a little bit unnecessarily risky. Yeah, you don't need to be super aggressive on this first turn. Just or on the following up turn even. And then pass. Holds on to the Psychic Energy. I like to see that. Definitely want to save that for the Oranguru. Jimmy's opening hand has a Fan Club, has a Parallel City. Parallel City is super good in this matchup. The amount of times you can use the Parallel City in this matchup is really big through Lusamine, because you can actually just kind of run the ZoroGarb Pokemon. That's like a win condition. You can actually just run them out of Pokemon, and then the Zoroark's just not doing any damage anymore. You don't care that it's hitting your Toads for like 80 damage. Gives you a lot more time to work with, as if they're not one-shotting your Toads. So we see the Fan Club from Jimmy grabbing Toad and Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo super important to get early on in this matchup. Limit your opponent's plays. Force them to have to get out ability lock Garb, and then their ability locked, and then you kind of have control generally over when ability lock leaves play, unless they get the Klefki on it. We see Jimmy going once again with the Wonder Tag for the Colress. setting up for the turn 2 play. His board looks really similar to game 1, except he was able to get out the Sudowoodo a little bit more aggressively here. No Giraffe in the active, although it wouldn't have done quite as much work as it did in game 1. And hopefully we see Chance not leaving Guzma in his discard pile if it ever makes its way there. If he has the choice to Via Seeker for it. Usually when they're playing the Guzma, they're still under Quaking Punch and they don't really have a choice, or he won't really have a choice, but we'll see. Got Zoroark. We got Choice Band, we got Colress. Definitely would like to see the Choice Band come on the active here, come down on the active here, and then Colress for 6. He's gonna go with Prop Trade. I don't like that. I would just go ahead and play the Colress immediately. Like, yeah, he literally got nothing off this. I'd rather build on my next hand than worry about my current hand. Choice Band to active. And then that should definitely evolve to that Ability Lock Garb. I'm almost positive that if that was an Ability Lock Garb, then it's fine for him to hold it, but I'm almost positive that card he had in his hand was an Ability Lock Garb. He should have definitely evolved that Trubbish to Ability Lock Garb. I'm almost positive that was an Ability Lock Garb. Got the Colress for 6 here. Nothing great. He can red card Jimmy if he wants. The rest of the hand is kind of terrible. Yeah, gonna see the red card. Definitely needs to use the Dowsing Machine for a Colress here in fear of getting Quaking Punched. Yeah, you just got to do it. Oh no, he has actually a communication. He can get another Zoroark and trade, so he doesn't actually have to do anything yet. I was thinking he can't use the. Oh, he's already doing it already. Definitely doesn't need to do that yet. Goes for an Ultra Ball, double prop Ultra Ball. Oh, okay, I guess this is okay too. You get the Zoroark. I would have definitely started with communicationing and then trading first before I commit to another Zoroark though. Yeah, I don't like this play from Chance at all. Prop trade for 2. There we go, double prop. I definitely would have liked to have seen him. I think he has a communication in hand. Definitely would have liked to have seen him communication away the Trash Lanch first, get a Zoroark, prop trade before you go dowsing for Ultra Ball for prop trade, and then think about maybe committing the dowsing for a Colress. But with 3 Zoroarks in play, I guess he'll probably draw enough cards where he won't care. There's an N. Yeah, definitely should have got, because it kind of becomes like a waste of a dowsing machine at that point. Definitely would like to have seen him go with the communication, get rid of the Trash Lanch. Dowsing for Ultra Ball is just like super expensive. Like, it's not a very good dowsing target. That's not what you want a dowsing machine for. Not terrible all the time. There we go. Via Seeker for Colress. He knows it's possible he can get Quaking Punch. It's good to see that. Props an egg and pass. Yeah, I'm fine with that 1 egg prop. That's fine. Jimmy draws for turn. I can't really see a ton of his hand. I know he has Guzma, so if he has DCE Guzma, that's actually pretty good here. Can lock up the Trubbish with the Quaking Punch. So I'd definitely like to see that if he has DC in hand. You could even if you have a draw supporter, taking a turn off to do that isn't terrible. So there's the Guzma on the Trubbish, setting up the other Lele. I expect the Water Energy to come down to the active Lele this turn. Yep, there it is. And it's going to be pass. He only has 3 cards in hand, so that's a little scary for Jimmy right here, knowing that it's definitely possible that he actually just gets knocked out. Or gets delinquented, not knocked out. So I definitely like the trades here first from Chance this time before the Colress or playing any kind of supporter. Because if he's delinquent here, delinquenting Jimmy to 0, I'm pretty sure Jimmy has a 3-card hand. So that'd be pretty good. Pretty good for Chance. But I don't think it's going to happen here. It's going to go with communication. Probably he's getting rid of a Zoroark. I'm not sure what he's going to grab. I'm fine with him kind of just burning the item so he doesn't have to have it later. Looks like he's eyeing up the Klefki. Doesn't really matter because he can't bench it because of the Sudowoodo, even though he has the Skyfield in play. Gonna go with the Oranguru. Same thing though. Can't bench it. It's just gonna be sitting there in his hand. Nope, can't bench it. Sudowoodo. I think he should probably just go with the Colress here. He could also just hold the hand. The hand is pretty big, so there's like a good chance he'll just eventually draw into the good stuff. I think he definitely should evolve to the Ability Lock Garb in the active, knowing he might get Float Stone. At this point, I think I would want to shut down. Oh, he does have the Delinquent. Okay, he does have the Delinquent the whole time. Okay, so there was a mistake there by Chance for sure. He replaced Jimmy's Parallel City with his Stadium and then Delinquented, meaning he just lost a Skyfield for no reason. He could have just still had that Skyfield in his hand. So pretty big mistake there by Chance, just losing a Skyfield for no reason. But definitely cool to see the Delinquent. He did have the Delinquent. Gets to use it. I would have almost started going in with Stomp Off as Chance. That's probably a little bit too aggressive. Probably right to hold on to it, but I would have definitely been tempted. All right, back over to Chance. Definitely want to see trades here first. Yep. Trade 1. Prop trade 2. Has the Guzma. Definitely wants to KO that Sudowoodo. Prop trade 3. So if he gets a DCE here, oh, still no DCE. If there's enough items in the discard pile, I would still like to see him go Guzma knock out the Sudowoodo with the Trash Lanch in hand though. We'll see if he goes for it. And then once again, Via Seeker definitely wants a Via Seeker for the Guzma back. At that point, I don't even know if it's worth Colressing because you have so many cards in your hand. But I guess you do want to play around Hue as well. So yeah, I guess I could see it. I would definitely have evolved probably the active Trubbish to Ability Lock Garb though. Maybe that's too risky. Yeah, I guess just holding on to it is fine. That's fine. Counted 8, should be 7. All right, all good. He has Ultra Ball, but no tool, specifically Float Stone. Yeah, you don't really want to put a Choice Band on it, and it'll just get stuck active. He might only play 2 Choice Band as well, and they're both in play. So Jimmy finally top decks out of it, gets a Sycamore. Unfortunate that Chance wasn't able to capitalize on the Delinquent to 0 there on Jimmy, and we'll probably see Jimmy start to come back into this game a little bit here for sure. Down 0 prizes so far. Usually you've lost some prizes to ZoroGarb at this point, so I'm sure, even though Jimmy hasn't done anything the past couple turns, he doesn't really care. His opponent hasn't drawn any prizes. There's nothing really to worry about. He gets a Toad and a Zorua and passes, so still not that much going on Jimmy's side. Finally, we see a DCE here from Chance. We should see some prop trades. Prop trade 1, prop trade 2, and then prop trade 3. I mean, for me here, I want to see him hit the Guzma. Looks like we're whiffing Guzma here. There's Skyfield though. And if he has a Colress, he can try and set up for the knockout here on the Lele. He maybe actually just has it in hand. He's got 2 basic Pokemon. Should see the eggs prop here. I'd like to see them both get propped here. Use those. You don't want to run out of Pokemon by keep putting in Pokemon in play that are not your... oh, he does have the Guzma. Okay, so we should see the knockout here on the Toad then for sure. Guzma up the Toad. Egg. Can't do that yet. Need to put the Ability Lock Garb in play. There you go. Egg, egg. I think egg, egg is all you need. Maybe he needs one more. He needs one more. Egg, egg, and then Klefki, I guess. Yeah, the Shaman would be fine too, I guess. 160, 190, yeah. And then there's going to be the Riotous Beating. Yes, there we go. VS Seeker for Guzma. Can't get Giraffe. And then Riotous Beating for the knockout. All right, over to Jimmy. His opponent's finally drawn prizes. The counter catcher is active. We'll see what he can end up pulling off here. Looks like he's already eyeing up the Parallel City. He has access to Get Lost, but there's no Guzma in the discard pile this time. Dowsing Machine. I assume it's going to be for the Parallel City here. Ooh, it looks like he might go for the Field Blower, actually. Skyfield. And the Float Stone. Yeah, so this is why it's really important to use the eggs here as Chance. Oh, discards the Klefki. I think I would have liked to have seen him actually discard the Trubbish actually instead of the Klefki, because he definitely wants to be able to access ability locking again. It might not matter this game actually though, because I think Jimmy's going to lock up the Garbodor anyways with Quaking Punch, or that's definitely Jimmy's goal here, is to lock up the Garbodor with Quaking Punch. He has the Toad in hand, but I don't see the DCE yet. He does have an Ultra Ball. It's going to thin out his deck by 1 more card. Probably grab a... Oh, he doesn't have the Toad in hand. Oh, no, maybe he does have the Toad in hand. If he didn't have the Toad in hand, he has the Toad in hand now. And then we'll see him trade looking for the DCE. Pretty important turn for Jimmy to hit the DCE here. We'll see if he can find it. I don't think there's really anything else he's looking for. It's just going to be prop trade on 2. Ooh, no DCE. All right. That's a little iffy here from Jimmy. He does have the Enhanced Hammer, so that's a start to slowing down his opponent. Another Zorua in hand as well. Yep, expect that and the Toad to come down. Has a Fighting Fury Belt as well. I don't know if he wants to put that in play quite yet, though, for it just to be Field Blowered away, potentially. So I think we'll see him hold on to the Fighting Fury Belt. We'll see what he goes with, though. Thinking about it. Yep, there's the pass over to Chance. Chance definitely wants to go Guzma, knock out that other Toad here. We'll see if he's able to pull it off. Nothing super important in Jimmy's discard pile. So there's only 10 minutes left on the clock, so I doubt a Game 3 will ever finish in this position. So Jimmy doesn't actually have to win this game. All he has to do is like set up some kind of stall lock on a Garbodor through Quaking Punching, locking it into the active, and Jimmy will just win eventually through that. So that's definitely the play I assume Jimmy is looking for. So we do see the Skyfield and the Guzma and a DCE in Chance's hand. So all he needs is a tool for this Garbodor, and he will be able to KO this Seismitoad. He did get the Field Blower, so the tool on Jimmy's side would have been punished for sure. There is no tool in Chance's hand that I can see, though. So he's going to have to go with Guzma and knock out something else. Definitely would like to see him Guzma knock out the Sudowoodo this turn then. I think that's fine. A fine play to go with. His hand is full of like everything except what he needs. He has all of his energy, all of his Pokemon, no Via Seekers. Yeah, there we go. Guzma bring up the Sudowoodo, send up the Zoroark, and then Riotous Beating for the knockout here. Definitely the play we want to see. There it is. Definitely would have preferred to have knocked out the Toad, go up 2 more prizes, reduce the chance of being Quaking Punch next turn, but sometimes you don't have access to a Float Stone, and that's the situation we're seeing here. He's going to have to go with the knockout on the Sudowoodo. Not too many cards left in Chance's deck, actually, so Handiwork is looking a little scary here. Jimmy gets the Toad into the active, has a Fighting Fury Belt in hand, still needs DCE, and then ideally he wants another counter catcher on that Ability Lock Garb again. It looks like he's eyeing up the what's it called again this time? The Parallel City. Prop trade 1 here from Jimmy. There's the counter catcher, but that's not a DCE. Still need a DCE to pull off the Quaking Punch. There's another Zoroark. Probably gonna see prop trade again. There's the DCE finally. So we could see Fighting Fury. Well, we should see counter catcher, Fighting Fury Belt, counter catcher up the Garb, and then I wouldn't hate to see a way to get the Parallel City out of the discard pile and then just play that. Reduce your damage. Limit your opponent's bench, but N is also pretty clean here. N is probably the better way to go. Just end your opponent low, reduce your opponent's chances of actually being able to do anything on their turn. I don't think Chance Via Seekered for the Guzma because he didn't have a Via Seeker, so he won't be able to have access to Guzma on his next turn. Because he won't be able to play Via Seeker because of Quaking Punch. So this Garbodor is going to be stuck up here for at least 3 turns through the 3 Quaking Punches. Jimmy ideally wants to find a Parallel City and make it 4 or 5 turns though, and just kind of slow down the pace of the game while he starts to remove resources from Chance's side of the board. Chance still has access to abilities though, so he's got the prop trades, but without Guzma, he's really not going to be able to move this Garb. So no matter how many cards he draws, the Garb's going to be stuck there. Prop trade, and then yeah, prop trade again. At some point, he probably should start trading items. Like I wouldn't hate to see him trade away that Ultra Ball he has in hand. I think that would have been fine there. And then pass over to Jimmy. Jimmy needs to find a DCE again. Having that one just been fobbed away. But yeah, I think Jimmy will end up winning this game. As long as he's able to find DCE here, I think we will see Jimmy win this game. I don't see a way for Chance to really be able to draw 3 prizes through the Quaking Punch that Jimmy's bringing here. There's Plumeria, get rid of a DCE, and then DCE active, Quaking Punch for 40. All right, back over to Chance. Building up quite the hand here. He has to be careful of Hue for sure, so he has to like play. It's like a weird. I don't even know. Yeah, he chooses not to trade there. I like that. Just keeps the hand. He has Skyfield. He has DCE. He has basic Pokemon and a Colress, so he should be able to like fill his bench and knock out this Toad. Oh, he won't be able to knock it out the Toad. Maybe knock out the late. No, he doesn't have access to Guzma. I'll have to 2-shot the Toad, I guess. I'm trying to come up with a way for him to 1-shot the Toad. I don't think there's enough items for him to 1-shot it with Trashalanche, so it will have to be a 2-shot through Trashalanche plus Zoroark, or just attack him with Zoroark twice. Jimmy ideally wants to find Stretcher here. Put the ideally find Stretcher. Put the what's it called back in play. The Sudowoodo. Make it so Chance can't actually knock out or deal that much damage to anything really. I guess he's locked out of Guzma, so maybe you don't even need that here, Jimmy. There's the Parallel City. I like that. It doesn't stop the Garb from being knocked out. He's going to hold on to the Trashalanche here. And then we should see the Quaking Punch here from Jimmy. No reason to bench the other Zorua really here from Jimmy, so I don't expect that to come down. Still has access to the Stretcher, but I don't expect that to come down either. I think he's thinking about playing down the Stretcher, but there's really nothing to Stretcher for. So I expect the Quaking Punches to come out here. Yeah, Quaking Punch draws a prize. Over on Chance's side, I don't think there's enough items in Jimmy's discard pile for the Trashalanche to 1-shot, so we're probably not going to see that come up. We'll probably see a Zoroark come up because he doesn't. I think Chance probably only plays 1 Psychic Energy. So even if he had access to it right here, if it just gets Plumeria away, then the Garb is stuck in the active for 3 turns. Whereas you have like access to like 3 DCs, so Zoroark getting stuck in the active is way less detrimental. Looks like he is going to start going for trades again here. Prop trade. I don't know what he's really digging for here. He had DC in hand. Now he's got a ton of energy in hand, a ton of cards in hand, so Hugh could definitely punish him. Probably not going to happen, though. Jimmy's hand is also pretty big. See, Jimmy draws a Float Stone. Not a huge deal. He could Acerola and reset this Toad and then Quaking Punch the Zoroark. He did Lucamine for the end on the last turn, so we could see that come down for sure. If he had a Dowsing Machine for Enhanced Hammer, I'm sure we would probably see the Acerola play. Acerola is active. Quaking Punch. Actually, Jimmy's about to deck out here. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see him. If he had the Dowsing Machine for the Enhanced Hammer, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Acerola play come out here from Jimmy. He's got access to Skull Grunt now. But that's a little bit iffy play. It's a little bit of a gamble play. Looks like he is eyeing up the Acerola. Maybe not, though. We'll see. He did get the Lele back, or the N back on the last turn. Yeah, it's going to be the Acerola on the Toad just to reset it. I think he hasn't played Enhanced Hammer this game. He maybe has, though. Toad's coming back down. DCE, retreat, no Fighting Fury Belt yet, although I expect it to come down. I don't see a reason for it really not to come down. Looks like he might hold the Fighting Fury Belt actually. Okay, that's interesting. He's going to do the Quaking Punch for 30. I don't know why he wouldn't want to, or it should just be 10, actually. Oh, it is 10, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure why he wouldn't put the Fighting Fury belt back on, because there is the potential for his Toad to be knocked out now, which I'm pretty sure Chance could have just done. He got Quaking Punch, but I'm pretty sure he has a Sky Field and enough Pokemon, plus the 2 eggs, to have knocked out Jimmy's Toad. And I think time is called there on Jimmy's turn, so I think Jimmy will end up winning this, but I'm pretty sure Chance could have KO'd this Toad on his last turn. Because Jimmy forgot to put either forgot to put the Fighting Fury belt on it, or chose not to. I just can't. Chance isn't going through his whole hand, but I'm almost positive Chance has a Sky Field in his hand. So I'm pretty sure Chance could have KO'd this and then maybe looked for another KO to actually have won this game. But I think it is just going to end up with Jimmy winning. We'll see. Jimmy's debating the stretcher here. Looks like he wants to grab another Toad. Time was called though, so I don't think there's any way Jimmy loses. So yeah, I guess just to wrap up the series here, I think it looks like Jimmy is going to win 1-0, which the ZoroToad deck does do a lot. To win one game with the deck takes a long time. I definitely think Chance played this game definitely not perfectly. I think it definitely could have been played quite a bit better by Chance. Definitely a couple major plays that we brought up that could have been really game changing. The biggest one for me, I think, was game 1. First, the Guzma ending up being stuck in the discard pile, not V-Seeking for that. The Shaman play, and then Delinquenting over Faba in the first game. I think that was the first game as well. There's a couple things in this game earlier on as well. So played very well from Jimmy, and that's what you'd expect from the player who won the last 3 regional championships before this one. And then, you know, Chance, definitely some stuff to work on for sure. Definitely a little rough on Chance's side. There's a Quick Punch for 20. I don't think it's going to matter here. We'll go ahead and wait out the last couple turns, see if there's any possible chance of Chance winning. As he checks through his new hand, there's a trade. I'm sure we'll see another couple trades come down here to replenish his hand. Prop trade again. And I think we'll see a prop trade again. Yep, prop trade again. But I don't think there's anything you can do about it. I think this one's about over. Yeah, I'm almost positive he had a Skyfield in his hand on the last turn, so he could have KO'd the Toad. Maybe it didn't matter at that point anyways, though. Maybe, I don't know what turn time was called, so. He drew the Oricorio, so I think right now he's actually counting Jimmy's Pokemon, seeing if there's anything he can pull off there. But I don't think there is. He has the Rangaroo in his deck, too. Definitely would have liked to have seen him try and find that a little bit more aggressively as well. I think in game 1, like I had mentioned when we... Yeah, there's he goes here, he scoops. I don't think he actually lost game 1 when he thought he lost game 1 when he scooped. I don't think the game was over at all there. The Garbodor would get knocked out eventually. He still had access to a Rangaroo. He still had access to the Psychic Energy. So yeah, a little rough there for Chance. Definitely not played optimally. Jimmy, on the other hand, yeah, played pretty optimally. Once again, that's what you'd expect from him. I don't know about that last play about not attaching the Fighting Fury belt or not stretching for the Sudowoodo to protect the Toad. One of the two. But maybe at that point, time was already called, and all he knew is he needs to Quaking Punch twice in a row and just have one of them have a Fighting Fury belt, and he would win. I'm not quite sure what was going on there. But besides that, it was super clean on Jimmy's side. And that's going to do it for round 1, the round that I didn't think existed, but it did. Not super entertaining because it is ZoroToad, and ZoroToad versus anything is never really that exciting. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you enjoy the content, subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Did I miss anything? Is there anything that you guys think should have been played differently? Let me know in the comment section down below. Links to my Twitch live stream and social medias in the description below, and I'll be back with round 3 soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day, and peace.